It's time to heal your scars, so open up your birth chart right now. Do it right now! Look to see what house and what planets you have Aries and Gemini sitting in. Now Google or check an astrology book to see what those placements mean when they're sitting in those signs. This will tell you what area of life this transit will affect you peasants the most. On June 11th, 2024, we will have Venus and Gemini sextiling Chiron and Aries. We're gonna start feeling the energy of this transit as early as June 8th, all the way up to June 14th, with it peaking on the 11th. A sextile in astrology is when two placements, concepts, and ideas collaborate and work well with each other, creating an easy flow of information. But CD, what if I don't have Gemini or Aries in my chart? Shh, you peasant. Yes, you do. You're just reading your chart wrong. You probably have an interception. But let's get into the real nitty-gritty of what this transit even means. So grab your Time Warp Trio, hop in your magic treehouse, make like Code Lyoko, and let's return to the past. April 18th, 1972, Venus was in Gemini, and it was sextiling Chiron and Aries. And on this day, the Widgery Report was published. This was an official report that attempted to break down all the events that took place on Bloody Sunday. Bloody Sunday took place on January 30th, 1972. On that day, there was a protest being held in Northern Ireland. This civil rights protest was held in response to government policies that had been passed, allowing anyone and everyone suspected of being an IRA member to be arrested and imprisoned without due process. The protest turned violent, and 26 unarmed civilians were shot by British soldiers. Some were shot while trying to flee. Others were shot while trying to help the wounded. 14 people lost their lives. The Widgery Report was some bullshit. The report basically, and this is actually what they said about it, whitewashed the whole situation. It said the soldiers were borderline reckless. Lord Widgery even blamed the protest organizers for the deaths. There would have been no deaths if those who organized the illegal march had not thereby created such a highly dangerous situation. Excuse me? Your government was locking people up without due process. If you truly believe you can enforce such policies and there not be public backlash, you're highly mistaken, illegal protest or not. They got me in this video defending white people. Gosh dang it. So how does this correlate to the astrology? Gemini is the sign of communication, learning how to communicate, learning how to form relationships. Venus and Gemini can represent the desire to communicate, the desire to learn how to communicate, the desire to give words purpose, the desire to create a narrative. Aries is the sign of self, the sign of identity, the sign of initiative, taking action, the experiences that define who we are, why we're here. Chiron is the wounded healer. It represents the wound you can heal in other people, but not in yourself. So Chiron and Aries is the wound of identity, the wound of taking action. You can empower other people to take action and be who they are in their identity, but you struggle to give that to yourself. So when I think of Venus sextiling Chiron, this is traditionally a good placement, but when I think about it in correlation to Bloody Sunday and this report, the British government had a desire to put forth a certain narrative, and that really hurt their relationship with the Northern Irish people. Venus sextiling Chiron can also be about the wounds opened in your relationships. In this case, the government's relationship with their people. You were locking people up under the suspicion of them being terrorists with no hard evidence without giving them due process. Regardless if it was an illegal protest or not, that was something worth protesting about. And instead of listening to the demands of the people that you're hurting, you sent your soldiers into the crowd and you hurt your people. You hurt the people who are trusting you to govern them. Now, mind you, since then, new investigations have been done and the Prime Minister has apologized. The British government has apologized for the events of Bloody Sunday, but that wound is already there. Northern Ireland already has a weird place in the UK, and this situation doesn't make it any better. The narrative you wanted to put out hurt Irish identity. Could you make the argument that the people's desire to put forth their own narrative about the British government resulted in them being hurt in some way, shape, or form? Sure, but I won't accept that. So here's my question to you, the viewer. What narrative do you want to put out in your relationships with people, places, things, concepts, and ideas? How does that narrative hurt or heal your identity as a person? How do you know you're not harming the other party with the narrative that you're trying to put out? The victims of Bloody Sunday still feel the pain of their loved ones losing their lives to this day. Remember, you guys, this took place during the Troubles. That was a very intense time in the UK and Ireland's history. And even though this sextile is only going to be for a small window of time, so many good and positive things can come to fruition if you use the communication skills, the mental stimulation, the intellectual development that you desire so much to heal the scars of your identity and help you form better relationships. Want to learn more about your zodiac sign? Sign up for a reading, link in my bio.